Hi, Danette. Thank you for coming.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I want to tell you that we are so excited to present you as our inaugural virtual artist for the Disco Dolls Gallery.
Thank you so much. This is exciting.
So we're just going to present your work to everybody, and then later on we'll give them information where they can see more of it.
All right, sounds good.
All right. So today, why don't we, I'm going to get up here and we're going to present your work.
All right.
Hecho Mano with love, correct? You say it.
Hecho A Mano with love. Yes.
Hecho A Mano with love. Tell us about that.
Well, I came up with the title Hecho A Mano, which means handmade.
Yes.
So it's literally handmade. Dedicate a lot of love and care to these pieces, these embroidery pieces.
What I want you to tell the viewer about is your process as well. So, you know, and that's a nod to the handmade for sure. And when I look at it, it's like creeks and valleys of line and color and texture,
Right.
feeling and iconic pictures of things that we might recognize as a viewer or not. So if you could just take us through that process then a little bit, like, do you grid it out? I mean, or do you just draw it straight on, or no drawing?
So what I usually do is that I draw the design first, and I've been mostly doing that on paper. So I just have a bunch of sketches. But recently I've been using my iPad, the Procreate app. So I've been recently drawing on those lately. So I just have, well, that glares, never mind, sorry. So I just do my sketches digitally as of late, and after I'm finished with the sketch, I transfer it onto the fabric, and then that's when I begin the stitching process, and that's usually the longest process. And then, well, first, before I transfer it to the fabric, I have to wash the fabric because fabric shrinks a bit. And after I'm done stitching, I wash it again. I hand wash it. Just because of the oils in my fingers and all that, I wash it right after to better preserve the work. And then I close the back off, and that's it.
Well, I just love that part. And honestly, the viewer can crawl along the landscape of these threads, Danette, and enjoy so many different parts of your work. So that brings me to your imagery. I mean, a lot of it, I don't know a lot of pop culture, but I know enough, and I know the art world, and so I recognize some things. But then other things, I can't help but think that they come just from your soul, or like your artist statement says, part of your background and what motivates you as an artist.
Right. So usually I do a lot of pop culture work, and I do a lot of work that's tied to my heritage, my background, and sometimes those kind of, mostly because when I migrated here from Puerto Rico, and when I migrated as a child, I couldn't explain it, but I understood right away that pop culture was an important part of surviving in America, and so I became super infatuated with pop culture, and it's been a part of me. It's part of my I guess, immigration experience. And so I usually feel tied to a lot of things that sometimes doesn't seem like they go together, but to me it just makes perfect sense.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because upon receiving your work during these different times, we want to tell the viewer that Danette and I were masked up at first, and then we received the work, we put it on, and we are virtual, obviously. However, so many questions, and I thought, wow, because you and I really did not talk about how the work went together. And, you know, I needed my comrades to help me organize myself, for sure. And I would say that the best way for the viewer is how we have it, and that is by size. And then it lets the viewer, at least for me, to take in that pop culture or whatever it is, or pause on what the different threads are, or any of that. So I mean, that part to me is so enjoyable, is all these different textures you have, and, you know, different genres. It's not all, I can see how you've changed over time, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So do you want to tell me anything about a contemporary artist that really excites you, or somebody from the past in our art history? I know that our culture, which I think you put that eloquently, it was like a rite of passage coming into America, because, you know, this is what people think of America. I mean, we think of it being Americans. So you've done a really, really good job on that inventory.
Thank you.
Yeah. So where do you see, like, is one of your landscape pieces here in the corner? Is this one of your more recent pieces right here?
Yeah, that one's, I finished that, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Recent. It was,
yeah. Well,
not that recent.
Well, I just really enjoy the culture, as the texture, and I love the cultural pieces though too. I don't know if Frida Kahlo is one of your favorite artists, or
she is. She's actually technically the first artist I ever learned about. I didn't have an art class until I was in middle school, so I didn't really know any art history or anything like that growing up. But my parents were watching the movie Frida, and that was my first exposure to a real artist.
Wow, well, that's a pretty powerful movie.
Yeah, so it's definitely another thing that ties to my infatuation with pop culture, because it definitely sometimes has helped me learn more about the world than what I learned in school.
Oh, well, yeah, I agree with that for sure. Yeah, I love the Frida Kahlo. She's been a crowd pleaser here at the studio for sure. And then Danette, the Basquiat over here, which I loved him right away, the different textures and the time that you spend on his hair, and then the little symbolism of the crown. And I mean, anyone who's in our field knows that's Jean-Michel Basquiat. So
Right.
Really incredible job on that.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with his hair, just because I get to do different stitches with that one, and stitches that I don't normally use for other pieces. So
yeah, cool. Well, what is your one last loaded question?
Mm-hmm.
What is your dream job? What would you say your dream job is as an artist? As an artist, are you doing it? Are you living it?
I feel like I'm almost living it. When I decided my career path, and which is being an art teacher, that's what I am, a full-time art teacher, along with embroidery art. When I decided to become an art teacher, it was me wanting to be somebody that I needed when I was growing up. So I definitely wanted to be an art teacher where there were immigrant students. And I did get a chance to do that for a while, and I would like to go back to that. But I think this time around, maybe I would like to lead the program for immigrant children to create art. And I definitely want to keep on doing more embroidery. I have this one fantasy project, and that's to go back to Puerto Rico and make more stitches of the landscape and landmarks, because lately, due to climate change and a whole bunch of other bad things going on, Puerto Rico is kind of on a decline. And it's made me realize that I shouldn't take my homeland for granted, because I've always had this idea growing up that it'll always be there. But now it feels less likely. So I definitely want to go back and create embroidery pieces of these places that I've been and grew up with and loved. And yeah.
That's awesome. I love landscape painting. And to me, that sounds like landscape painting with thread. And I mean, it's for the viewer, we look into the landscape and it's relaxing. So, and your pieces are really relaxing to look at, those pieces. Well, I get into the threads, Danette, to be honest with you. I look at the image, but then I'm so in awe of your work. It's just really amazing. It takes time. Even the backs of the pieces are purposefully finished and with care. So, Danette, if somebody wanted to get a hold of your work, how could we come look at it other than on the Disco Dolls _art Instagram?
That's gonna be probably my personal Instagram, which is La Bambola, which is La with 3 underscores and then Bambola. And also on TikTok, I make a lot of videos about my process on that app. And I have my own website, which is DanetteMarieAlbino.com.
Awesome. Awesome. We really enjoyed your, on Instagram, you can see a little clip of Danette, and it's just really nice, Danette. I love your outfit and the whole feeling of that little video you made of yourself. It's for us all to know this is what you're dealing with. Danette, she is the whole Renaissance woman. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, teacher, artist, friend. Do you have anything you want to tell us before we leave? We are taking people. You can get online to Disco Dolls, our website, and contact us in our Instagram, and you can come and see the gallery one at a time in person, and we will be masked, but at least if you wanted to see Danette's work up close and personal. So that's a possibility. Yeah, for sure. You can come and see it. Come because it's up now. Yeah, you can come anytime.
Awesome. Great. And I did want to show the latest piece I finished.
Yes, let's see. I know what the cat.
Yeah, it's a portrait of my late cat. We lost him winter of 2018. So over a year ago, I started this portrait and I finally finished it. And it's probably the most detailed one I've made. So it's...
Well, that's what I'm talking about. All these threads that you create and pile on one another and juxtapose them to each other with color, and it just creates this magnificent textural, enjoyable textile piece. So.
Right. I feel like when I'm working on this, there's I feel like I have that connection. That's why I don't sell most of my pieces, just because they feel definitely a part of me. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Well, I look forward to talking to you about that process, Danette. So this show is awesome. Thank you so much. Leanne, Christine, and I thank you so much for lending us your work for a month. Okay?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
You bet. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Might not be the best city in the world. It's the place I call home. Might not have the best